everybody, it's Stacie Duffy here, your Denver Metro real estate resource, and I wanted to answer the question for y'all today of, well, it's a crazy seller's market, so why don't I just put this crazy pie in the sky price on my house? Because someone will pay it, right? And I'll just take their money and run. So, you know what? Not a bad idea. However, there are some challenges there. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying a lot of people don't do it because there's some hurdles that you have to get past or some challenges to work through that may or may not make sense. So, and I'm going to stay real top level. It's really easy to get down in the weeds on this, on, anything, because anyway, you know me. So if you're watching my videos, you understand that I like detail and I like to understand how the processes work and everything else. So if you want more details on the individual reasons why, or for me to go into, how the system works and appraisal process and everything else, let me know. Put some comments down below and I'll make some supplemental videos for that. And I'll link to the other videos where I've already explained some parts of it. But generally, 3 challenges to, crazy overpricing your house, even in a seller's market, especially in a seller's market. 1 is your buyer probably won't see it in their search results. So, and the main reason for that is if in a crazy seller's market, houses are getting bid above the list price, right? So for example, let's say your house is worth $500,000 or a house is worth $500,000. It might be getting up to $520,000, $530,000, $550,000, right? As far as what it actually sells for. So a good realtor working with a buyer is going to say, okay, if your budget is 500, all those 500 houses are going to sell for 520 plus. So let's look at a house that's 480 or 470. So you have room to bid and still compete and be within your budget. Therefore, it makes your 500 house that's priced for 575 or 560 because you want to overprice it. It makes it that much more unattainable, as well as the buyers aren't even going to see it in their search results. So there's a certain type of property and target buyer that will have a wider range, that will have more flexibility in their budget, that might be looking at things that are more than they want to spend for different reasons. So that's a different thing. But most buyers aren't going to see it. Challenge number 2, probably one of the biggest ones, appraisal. So you're not just dealing with your dining room table that you're selling on Facebook Marketplace for $100 and someone bought it right away and you're like, man, I should ask $200. Okay. Different situation. When you're dealing with a collateral-based loan, that lender is going to require an appraisal to make sure the house has a market value, not buyer value, market value, worth what they are willing to lend against it, right? So, and that's to make sure that if that buyer can't buy the house, that the lender can get their money back out if they have to sell it to somebody else, okay? When you overprice your home, you've got problems there. There's multiple challenges, there's multiple details, there's different ways to handle it. However, for certain buyers and certain properties, there's a couple ways out of that or can help with that challenge. 1, cash buyer, right? Guys, cash is king. If a cash buyer is willing to overpay you for your house and you want money, take it and run. Hey, if that's the goal, win-win, right? They're willing to pay it, you want it. So if you've got a high down payment buyer, so maybe someone that is selling their large mansion and downsizing to, the place they want to retire or something else, somebody with a large down payment, 25, 40, 50%, the lender will oftentimes give them an appraisal waiver, okay? That appraisal waiver is the lender's way of saying, you've got so much equity in this house that if we've got to take it, we're going to get our money out and more. So we don't really care what you pay for it within a range. So they'll have a price max on that appraisal waiver depending on the property and depending on the buyer's financial situation. A couple ways through that. There's also some other ways out of it, but that gets into the nitty gritty. So appraisal is really the big one for your general, for your first time buyer, second time buyer, typical suburban home, townhome, condo. That's going to be, condo's its own nightmare. That's going to be your big challenge. You're really looking at your higher end homes or your retirement homes, maybe your 55 plus communities, things like that. You might have some more flexibility there and kind of options, or custom homes, things like that. Third thing, one of the big ones, guys, finding a realtor that's willing to overprice your house and list it and do all of the work and time and energy and effort and everything that we do. Because conventionally, typically, most realtor compensation structure is we get paid when the house sells and closes. So why would we list your house for $200,000 or some 20% more than we think a buyer's willing to pay for it? Because that just means we're never going to get paid. So I love my job, but I don't work for free. I'm sure you probably don't work for free either. So any client that we work with is a calculated risk on our part. We have to protect our time, our money, and our resources, right? The realtors who are not willing to do that haven't either one, been burned before, or two, are so new that they just want any business they can get, right? If you find a new realtor to take it, fine, whatever, go for it. However, most realtors that are experienced and that, have a certain amount of time to allot to their clientele are going to take a risk, essentially calculate their level of risk for that. So some realtors don't take overpriced listings at all. Some realtors take them with the intention of trying to, nibble you down later on and get you to lower the price and nag you a little bit. Trust me, that doesn't work. That has its own set of worms with it that I'll shoot another video on another day, but it's their way of getting the foot in the door. So I don't know, someone asked me the question yesterday and I told them, I know that house, I know that neighborhood, I know how I would market it, and I know the limited inventory. I might be willing to do it up to a certain price point, given the certain caveats of how I advertise the property. And maybe we change the compensation structure. Maybe I'm willing to do it as long as you pay a portion of my costs or, all of my costs up front, and those are credited back when we close, because I don't work for free. Maybe I'll give you my time for free, but not the expense. Different ways of structuring that. So I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying most good experienced realtors know better, because it's just a waste, guys. If we're going to throw in the MLS, unless it's some $5 million property that we just put our name on it or something, be able to say that, hey, we listed this house. It doesn't really help anybody if we can't say we sold it. So different challenge. Not saying we're not going to do it. Call your realtor and ask, see what they say. So I'm really curious. And if you are a realtor watching this, I'm curious, what would you do? Does it depend on the scenario? Is it something where you never take overpriced listings, or you'll take anything, as long as you can negotiate those terms in the contract in advance or something? So just some 3 challenges there as far as reasons why overpricing your house, even in an extreme seller's market, probably isn't going to give you the best result, the immediate result that you think is just, people are just throwing money out there. Yeah, there's a lot of money flying around, but you got to know how to navigate that. And you got to know when it makes sense to do that and when it doesn't. And having someone who's in the industry and experienced, and this is what we do for a living, we understand those risks and those challenges and kind of how to navigate those and what might actually result in a successful sale for something that is above market value with a target buyer in a different situation, and how to market the property to get there. So anyway, if you're in the Denver metro area and you've been thinking about this, please feel free to reach out to me. Like I told you, I would be willing to do it on a calculated risk situation. It's not typically how I do business, but sometimes it might make sense, sometimes it won't, and I'll explain that. Feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on my website. Link for that is down below. You can also sign up for like a neighborhood news of what's going on in your neighborhood here in the Denver metro area, to get an idea what the houses are actually selling for. A lot of people think these pie in the sky prices, they're really not pie in the sky, guys. I did a market analysis for a past client the other day. He's like, I thought I could sell my house for like 4.25. I'm like, no, we're talking like 4.75. Okay. That's more than 10% above the price he was talking about. So sometimes your house, the market has already justified that crazy high value, and you don't have to overprice it. Now, if you want to go above that, that's a different situation. But anyway, if you're liking my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I want to make sure that I am putting out content that is helpful for y'all and you are finding beneficial. If you'd like me to shoot a video on a particular topic that I haven't done, you can leave that down below or in a comment of any one of my videos. I love hearing your feedback. And yeah, thanks so much for the time and have a great day.